Now, we've got that done. Let's go back and do a little bit of coloring. I'm a firm believer in do everything black and white first. We're not going to really do any color in this tutorial at all. But what I am going to do is grab white for my fill color, get my paint bucket, and make sure I'm filling both of those with white. It's kind of hard to tell because we have a white background. So here's a trick that I do a lot of times. Go to my main selection tool, and in my properties, I'm going to change our stage color just temporarily, just so I can see what's going on and say, okay, yeah, we did fill that with white. And a good habit to get into, instead of me trying to fill in this area with black right now, I want to go in and do everything I have to do in white. If you remember, our outline is still black. So while we're here, let's do one other thing. Go to my oval tool, and I'm going to do a little highlight. So right now, it's going to give me a white outline, a black outline and a white fill. Not bad. Okay, let's go to our next frame, and we'll do the same thing. Okay, so that's a little bit off there. So let's undo that one. Okay, that looks better. Okay, so let's grab our paint bucket, and we'll fill in this area as well. Go to the last frame and get that there. Now, of course, you can make yours whatever color you want. I'm just keeping this very simple. Now, let's go back to frame 1, grab our fill color as black, and we'll fill in the rest of the pupil. Go there, and don't need one there. Okay? All right, so that's what's happening there. Looks pretty good. Let's go back to our main timeline. Scene 1, okay? Now, let's say that right now I'm running this at about, let's say, I believe this is at about 30 frames per second. And depending on how you have that set up, let's say if it's 30 frames a second, I'm wanting this to be about, 3 seconds long. So I'm going to select frame 90, and let's hit F5. Okay. So I'm going to test out our movie here. Command return. It's Control Enter on PC, and that's a little freaky looking. Not exactly what we want. So let's fix that. Here's the deal. What we're going to do is come over here. We've selected this. Go over where it says graphic, and you can only do this with the graphic. The options are set to loop. Let's set it to single frame. Okay. So right now it says frame 3 because it's showing the closed lid. Let's put it on frame 1. Hit return. Okay. Now if we test it, okay, it's just showing that single frame. Now the playhead is still moving. I'm going to show you something real quick. Got a bandwidth profiler. And you notice the playhead is still moving, but it's just staying on that one frame. Okay, now let's make it blink. About at frame, 25, we'll insert a keyframe. Let's do, actually, before we do that, let's do something else. Let's give, let's actually have them have 2 eyes here. We're going to hold on our Option key, Alt on PC, click and drag this over. Okay, and so we got 2 eyes there. Now at frame 25, we're going to insert a keyframe, F6. Good. Now, I've entered a keyframe. Now with both of those selected, I'll click once on the stage. Come over here, where it says single frame of 1, we'll put in frame 2, and we'll hit our return or enter key. Now I'm looking at this going, I want to do a little bit of playing around here. I want to change the angle here. So I'm going to click on one of those eyes, grab my free transform, and bend it a little bit. Click on the other one. Let's see. So I just want them to look a little more like they're connected there. Okay. Now let's go. Let's do. That's one frame. We're going to go over about 4 frames because I'm running at 30 frames a second. If I were doing a smaller frame rate, I'd probably do 2 frames. Like if I were doing 10 or 15 frames, I would go over 2 frames, but this is running pretty fast. So I'm going over 4 frames, insert a keyframe, F6, click on the eye once. Now, if you notice, both of those are still selected. So we'll do frame 3 and hit our return or enter key. And again, I want to just rotate these just a little bit. Maybe even move that down a bit. Who knows? It's going to give it a nice little effect there. Okay. So I'm just scrubbing this and seeing what it's going to look like. Okay. Looks good. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I'm going to grab my little frame here, frame 2, hold down my Option key, Alt on PC, click and drag this over. I'm going to skip about 6 frames here. Let go of the mouse, let go of the keyboard. So I've already duplicated that. Okay. So close the eyes, they've stayed closed for a bit, and they go to frame 2. Now I'm going to grab frame 1 here, hold on my Option key, Alt on PC, click and drag over. And about 4 frames later, we'll go back to frame 1. Let go of the mouse, let go of the keyboard. Okay. So we've got a full blink happening. And so if I test this, Command return, Control Enter on PC. All right, there's our blink. And I know what you're thinking. Dude, that's a lot of work to go through every time you want the character to blink. And that's only 90 frames, man. You know, my movie's going to be 55 minutes long. Okay, well, watch this trick. I'm going to go all the way up here and say, well, let's make our movie go all the way up to about 300 here. Let's see. And I'll just do F5. Okay. Now, just to show you, I'm going to shrink this down so we can see our timeline a little bit better. I'm going to click here, hold on my Shift key, and then click here so that it grabs the entire blink. The second frame, third frame, second frame again, then first frame. Hold down my Option key, Alt on PC, click and drag this little blink over, and I've got another blink. And here's the trick. What if I don't want the blinks to look exactly alike? Maybe on this one, the blink is actually held, the eyes are closed a little bit shorter. So I'm going to click there and drag this one back a bit. So the second blink is going to happen quicker. Does that make sense? All right. Matter of fact, I'll even move this one back. All right. So now let's test it. First blink. Second blink. Okay. So the first one's a little longer. And then the second one runs a little bit quicker. So I hope this has been helpful. And we've got a really nice clean line here. It's the key to making things look really sharp. And like I said, get that little Saturday morning cartoon line. And send me what you got. I want to see if you do anything with this. I mean, make it look really cool. So this has been Tony Ross for TonyTeach.com. Remember, keep it simple. Make it perfect. If you don't have time to make it perfect, rethink the idea. Oh, and by the way, I'll let you in on a secret. Don't tell anyone, but DVDs are coming soon, dude. Yeah, it's finally going to happen. So there will be a couple of them coming out. So check out our little sign-up list, and you'll be the first to know. Have a good one.